It all started about 6 years back. That was the point in time when the Tata Group was thinking of coming out with a lot of products for the mass segment. Incidentally, that was the point in time when TCS was also asked to come out with a software for small businesses. The manufacturing or production operation in a small business is no less complex as that we see in large businesses. We have to come out with a solution which is as diversity of processes that you have, and at the same time, it should be simple for you to use. That is when we started developing ERP, which we thought should not be same as the same ERP that we use for large companies, but it should be powerful at the same time simplified, which small businesses can be used. After a lot of testing in the market, which in software language we call beta testing, when we tested with live users, with live businesses, since then we have 250 or over 250 customers, and mostly in the auto component and pharmaceutical segment, and in process manufacturing. But what is ERP about? How does it change your business? How does it change your culture? Most important, how does it change the value that brings in? Does it really bring a value, or it adds a burden into your system? So let me articulate or define what ERP is about. I'll give you a process flow on how typically an ERP system will connect your departments. So here you see there are 5 departments on the screen. You have sales, you have production, you have the inventory, that is stores, you have the purchase, and you have the accounts. Now the question is how these departments are connected together through an online system. First is your sales department receives a sales order. And after you receive a set of sales order, based on your historical data that you have in your sales system, your system does a forecast. So in auto component, a very good example is your customers give you a purchase order which is a 6-month schedule, and before every month they give you a delivery schedule which has to be delivered. So that is your sales forecast. After you do a sales forecast, you run a MRP engine, that is material requirement planning engine, which automatically schedules the job orders. So what this MRP engine does is it checks whether you have raw material in stock or not. If it does not have raw material in stock, then it automatically issues job orders in the system. So here, the role of production planning and control is actually not required because the system takes over that role. The system has the record of your stocks and accordingly calculates what is the production that is to be done on that machine for that day and raises the job order. Once the job order is raised, it checks for the raw material inventory, and if the inventory is not existing, automatically a store's requisition is raised for the store's person to raise a purchase order. So what we see here is that there is no person manually checking whether the raw material is sufficient to oblige a production order or a sales order. It is a system that is raising a requisition automatically. After that, if this material is in stock, there is a job issue. And there is a job feedback, and finally there is a job receipt, and there is a dispatch transfer. So this process is entirely scheduled by the system, and finally during the dispatch, the system automatically picks what are the taxes and the prices applicable based on the contract that you have with your customer, and there is an invoicing. Now the important part here is that what if you don't have stocks in inventory, then the job order will not be executed. So automatically there is a requisition that is raised by the system, and that requisition is raised by the inventory department, that is stores. And then it flows into the purchase department, who raises a purchase order, and finally the supplier delivers a material and there's a good inwards note. At this point in time, you don't know whether the material that has come to your store is actually acceptable in terms of quality or not. So then you do a quality check, and if there is a rejection, automatically there is a debit note that is raised to the supplier to take back the return material. If the quality is accepted, there is a GRN. After the GRN, the material gets added to your stores, and that GRN becomes a purchase voucher for payment to your supplier. So there are a set of controls which are, this is a very simplistic view. And ERP is much more comprehensive than this, but this is the skeletal of the processes that we deploy in an ERP. So here what we see is, there are three things. One is that your production and your purchase system is dictated by your sales order, and it is scheduled by the machine. So typically when we have a department called production planning and control, in a lot of companies there are 3 to 4 people deployed for that calculation on a daily basis. This is done by the system automatically based on the data it has and based on the analytics it does. The second thing is control. The control is that the payment that is going to the supplier is only on basis of what has been eventually received in your goods and goods received note, and that is the one which has been accepted by the quality check. The third thing is, aspect here is that here you are getting visibility of your operation from the system. Like a helicopter, you are able to see what is the stock that you have in inventory, what is the lead time, or what is the inventory that is pending from your supplier, what are the deliveries that is pending to your customer. You get it in one single view. I speak from the context where there are two kinds of management that we talk about. One is management by control, which you are doing today. You tell your people what to do, and your people do exactly that. The other way of management is management by exception, where the system finds out what are the problems in the operations, and you get to know and you react to that. By this, you are able to bring in more certainty and more predictability in your operation, and of course, better efficiency by being just in time. So this is, in a gist, what ERP is about, and ION ERP stands by this principle. To tell you a bit about ION ERP, we have 5 modules. We have finance and accounting, we have procurement, we have production, we have sales, and we have quality control. And at the middle of this, at the heart of this, is what we call material requirement planning, which is the intelligent module. It actually controls all these production functions together based on certain analytics and calculations. So as I said, when you receive your purchase order or sales order from your customer on a monthly schedule or a 6-month schedule, as it happens in auto component or in bulk drug manufacturing, the system calculates what should be the system raw material requirement, what should be the plant allocation, and automatically issues the job orders and purchase orders. The second control you get is the quality. So you have quality. We execute quality in 4 areas: the quality during the purchase, the quality during the production, the quality during the dispatch, and finally the quality during the sample check. So in these areas, you would like to track why the rejections are happening, what are the specification levels, what are the opportunity to cut down the rejections. These kind of analysis, when you have, you are able to find better productivity by reducing quality rejections. So the question here is, how do we reduce the risk as well as the burden of capital investment from the SMEs? So what TCS did for the first time in India is, we introduced ERP on rent. So what we do is we provide ERP on a cloud computing platform. There are 2 advantages of cloud computing platform. One is that you don't have to buy expensive hardware like servers which will cost lakhs of rupees in your and maintain a data center, because we will host the ERP in our data center. The second biggest advantage of cloud is we are offering this ERP on a pay-per-use basis. That is, we charge you not a one-time license fee at lump sum, but a nominal per month per user fee, that is a rental fee for using the software. So we sign a contract of minimum 3 years for the customer, and we bill them a monthly fee for using their ERP. So by doing this, you achieve 2 things. You don't have to invest capital on an ERP, and secondly is you reduce the risk of financial loss in case your ERP is failed due to whatever reasons it can be. It can be process reasons, it can be people reasons, it can be uncertainty in business. So that risk is reduced. All the implementations of ION in SMBs will be governed by TCS consultants themselves. So there will be a TCS consultant in your premise who will be implementing or governing the implementation. It is the same quality process, it is the same standards that we follow in large companies, will be brought into our service to you. The third factor is we guarantee that you will go live in 90 days. Normally, ERP implementations can be very stretched. There is a lot of data migration that is done. There is a lot of product process integration it is done. There is a training required. And we will be doing all this through a very robust framework that we have been testing in the market. And we guarantee that you will be live in your core modules within 90 days. Of course, we offer you Ion ERP, but at the same time, we promise you a lot of value in efficiency and profitability.